Ilara, he's here. Run, Ilara.
Sometimes the strongest whispers aren't heard with the ears, but felt in the heart. Lila was no stranger to mystery. As a journalist, she'd chased down more than her share of strange tales and urban legends, but nothing could have prepared her for what was to come. Lila arrives at her small apartment and drops her things on the table. As she begins sorting through her mail, a thick, yellowed envelope catches her eye. There's no return address, just her name written in elegant, flowing script.
An old letter in this day and age? How curious.
She carefully opens the envelope to find a single piece of parchment inside. The paper is worn and the ink slightly faded, but the message is clear. Dear Miss Lila, your presence is urgently requested at the Greyshade Estate. Enclosed is a key. All will be revealed under the light of the new moon. Trust no one. Time is of the essence. Signed, a friend. Lila pulls out an antique-looking key from the envelope. It's cold and heavy in her hand, sending a shiver down her spine.
Greyshade Estate? I've never heard of it.
She quickly searches the address on her phone, revealing an old mansion located miles away from the city, deep in the forest. It's marked as abandoned.
This could be the story I've been waiting for.
Lila couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched, but by whom or what, she couldn't say. She approaches the large iron gates, which creak open as if they've been expecting her. The mansion is massive, with cracked windows and vines crawling up the stone walls. She hesitates for a moment before gathering her courage and stepping inside. Inside, the mansion is eerily quiet. Dust particles dance in the moonlight streaming through the windows, and the air smells of age and decay. Lila walks through the grand hall, her footsteps echoing off the marble floor. She takes out the key and notices an old, ornate door at the far end of the hall. It looks different from the rest, more recent, almost out of place. As she inserts the key, the door creaks open, revealing a small, dimly lit room. In the center, there's an old wooden desk with a stack of letters and a single, flickering candle. Lila picks up the top letter and begins to read. The words are a love letter, penned by a man named Thomas to a woman named Ilara. The letter speaks of a forbidden love, shadowed by dark secrets and hidden from the world. Lila feels a chill as she reads the final line. Meet me in the dark, my love. When the clock strikes midnight, our fates will be sealed. As Lila puts the letter down, the candle suddenly goes out, plunging the room into darkness. She hears a soft whisper behind her, a voice so close it feels like it's right in her ear.
Ilara, he's here.
Lila spins around, her heart racing, but there's no one there. The door slams shut, and she's left in the dark with nothing but the sound of her own rapid breathing. She fumbles for her phone and turns on the flashlight, revealing the now empty room. The letters have vanished.
This can't be real. I must be imagining things.
But as she backs out of the room, she hears it again. Another whisper, this time more urgent.
Run, Ilara.
Lila bolts out of the room and down the hallway, but the house seems to twist and turn, leading her deeper into its depths. The shadows on the walls seem to move, closing in on her. Her footsteps echo louder, faster, as if something is chasing her. She bursts into a grand library, slamming the door behind her. Panting, she leans against the door, trying to catch her breath. The room is filled with old books, their spines cracked and faded. A large, dusty chandelier hangs above, casting strange shadows on the walls. On the far side of the room, she notices a portrait of a young woman, her eyes hauntingly familiar. The woman in the portrait was Ilara, the very same Ilara from the letters. Her eyes seemed to follow Lila, filled with a sadness that made her heart ache. Lila steps closer to the portrait, drawn to it despite the unease it stirs within her. As she reaches out to touch the frame, she feels a cold hand on her shoulder. She spins around, but again, there's no one there. Suddenly, the chandelier flickers, and the room is plunged into darkness once more. The whispers return, louder this time, surrounding her.
He's coming. He's coming.
Desperate to escape, Lila stumbles through the darkness, her flashlight barely illuminating the path ahead. She finds herself in a long corridor lined with more portraits, each one staring down at her with hollow eyes. As she moves forward, she begins to notice something strange. The faces in the portraits are changing, morphing into grotesque, twisted versions of themselves. They seem to reach out from the frames, their hands stretching toward her. Lila breaks into a run, her heartbeat thundering in her ears. She turns a corner and crashes into a tall, shadowy figure. She screams and stumbles back, dropping her flashlight. The figure bends down and hands it back to her. It's an old man, his face wrinkled and eyes filled with sorrow.
You shouldn't be here. He doesn't like visitors.
Who are you?
I'm the caretaker, or at least I was. But this place, it belongs to him now.
The old man's eyes dart nervously around, as if expecting something to appear at any moment.
You must leave before midnight. It's the only way to break the curse. He's trapped here, but so is she, Ilara. She loved him, but love can turn to darkness when it's twisted by hate.
Who is he? What happened here?
The old man shakes his head, a tear slipping down his cheek.
A tragedy. 2 souls torn apart by a curse. He was jealous, you see, and in his rage he did something unforgivable. Now he's condemned to roam these halls, searching for her, and for anyone who dares to take her place.
Before Lila can ask more, the old man suddenly gasps and clutches his chest. His face contorts in pain, and he crumples to the ground, his body dissolving into a swirl of black smoke before her eyes. The smoke lingers for a moment, forming a shadowy figure in the air before dissipating into nothingness. Lila's mind raced. Was it all a hallucination? Or was the house playing tricks on her? But one thing was certain. Whatever haunted this place was very real, and she was running out of time. Lila looks around frantically, realizing she's completely alone again. She picks up her flashlight and shines it down the hallway, her hands trembling. The whispers start again, now louder, echoing off the walls as if the house itself were alive, urging her to flee.
Midnight is coming.
The clock in the distance begins to chime, each toll sending a jolt of fear through Lila's body. She breaks into a run, desperately searching for an exit, but the house seems to shift around her, the corridors becoming more labyrinthine with each step. She turns corner after corner, but every path leads her deeper into the mansion's dark heart. Finally, she bursts into a room she hadn't seen before, a grand ballroom. It's eerily pristine, untouched by time or decay. The chandeliers above glitter with cold light, and the polished marble floors reflect her terrified expression. At the center of the room stands a tall figure, shrouded in shadow. His back is turned to her, but she can sense the cold, malevolent energy radiating from him.
Is this him?
The figure slowly turns, revealing a face twisted with anger and sorrow. His eyes are hollow, dark voids that seem to pull the light from the room. He takes a step toward her, his voice low and menacing.
You shouldn't have come here, Ilara. You shouldn't have left me.
Lila's breath catches in her throat. She realizes with horror that the spirit thinks she's Ilara, the woman from the letters.
I'm not Ilara. My name is Lila. I don't belong here.
But the figure's expression doesn't change. He moves closer, and the air around Lila grows colder, her breath visible in the freezing room. She backs away, her mind racing for a way out. As she does, her hand brushes against something cold and metallic in her pocket, the key. Suddenly, the whispers grow louder, frantic, as if trying to communicate something important.
The key. The door. Break the curse.
Lila realizes that the key might be her only chance. She looks around the room, spotting a large, ornate door at the far end, partially hidden behind thick velvet curtains. With the figure advancing on her, she makes a split-second decision and dashes toward the door, pulling the key from her pocket. The spirit's anger erupts in a furious howl as he realizes what she's trying to do. The chandeliers above shatter, sending shards of glass raining down. The floor beneath her feet begins to crack, splitting open to reveal a dark abyss. Lila reaches the door, her hands shaking as she fumbles with the key. The ground beneath her trembles, and she can feel the figure closing in, his icy breath on the back of her neck. Just as she's about to lose hope, the key clicks into place, and the door swings open, revealing a blinding light. Without a second thought, Lila throws herself through the door and into the light. The moment she crosses the threshold, the whispers stop, and the cold presence of the spirit vanishes. The door slams shut behind her, and she collapses onto the ground, gasping for breath. Lila finds herself in a small, serene garden bathed in moonlight. The air is warm, and the scent of flowers fills her lungs, calming her racing heart. She slowly stands, realizing that the door she came through has disappeared, leaving her alone in this peaceful place. In the center of the garden, she sees a stone bench, and sitting on it is a woman dressed in a flowing white gown, Ilara. Her face is soft and kind, but her eyes carry a deep sadness.
You're not him, are you? But you freed me nonetheless.
Lila cautiously approaches, feeling a strange connection to the woman before her.
Who was he? What happened to you?
Ilara sighs, her gaze distant as if she's looking into the past.
His name was Thomas. We were in love, but our love was forbidden. He was consumed by jealousy, convinced I had betrayed him. In his anger, he made a pact with dark forces, binding our souls to the mansion forever. But his anger twisted him, turning him into a monster. I tried to save him, but the curse was too strong.
She looks at Lila with a gentle smile.
You've done what I could not. By opening that door, you broke the curse. His spirit is free now, as am I. But the mansion, it will remain a place of darkness, a warning to those who let their love turn to obsession.
Lila feels a weight lift from her shoulders, though a lingering sadness remains.
Will you be all right? What happens now?
Ilara stands, her form beginning to shimmer as if she's fading away.
I'll be at peace now. Thank you, Lila. You've given us both a second chance.
With that, Ilara slowly dissipates into the night, leaving Lila alone in the garden. As the first rays of dawn begin to break through the trees, Lila feels a sense of closure. She knows she's been part of something extraordinary, something tragic yet beautiful. Love can be a powerful force, but when twisted by jealousy and rage, it can become something dark and dangerous. But even in the darkest of places, there is hope for redemption and a chance to break free from the past.